Simon, ultimately Derby Day defeat on Monday night in front of the Viaplay sports cameras, going down to the Bradford Bulls 26-22 at the Shay in absolutely torrid conditions. What kind of game was that when you reflect on it?
Firstly, obviously very disappointing, still stinging a bit from it, but we have to move on, don't we? On to the next one. That's the mentality, I suppose. But yeah, look, it's not rocket science, our game at times, and where there is a lot of technical stuff within rugby league, the fundamentals don't change, do they? Don't matter whether we're in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s or where we are now, they don't change. And the number of errors, bloopers I'd probably call them, there were some absolute shockers in the game that happened. I mean, kick-outs on the full, passing the ball on the floor. The first 5 minutes was just calamitous, to be honest, and that probably had a 15-minute hangover for us to get back in the game. Second half, I thought we were better, completed better, played at the right in the field. Sin bin really hurt us. Despite all that, I still think we had enough to win. We just, again, it's probably a factor of where we are at the moment, confidence-wise, playing within ourselves, and when you're making errors, then your mind goes towards not making errors, and we probably just didn't play enough and chance enough, to get some more points on the board. But yeah, as much as it hurts, we just have to swallow it and move on to the next one. I've said straight after the game, I don't want to sound like that broken record, but we aren't a million miles away, but we're the only people who are going to turn it around. And when you're in these situations, it's an obstacle for us, but the only way is either through it or get over the top of it. So you can only do that by working hard, and we'll just keep doing that and persevere, and I'm sure our fortunes will turn.
Yeah, you mentioned there a little bit of a calamitous start. I think it was 7 or 8 minutes before we touched the ball and had a proper set without throwing it on the floor and things of that nature. We always seem to be chasing the game from that point on. In these big derby games in front of big crowds, momentum's such a big thing. Do you think that we struggled with that momentum battle at times? That we never really got ahead of the momentum meter, so to speak?
I think second half we were on top. I think the try before half time took the wind out of us a little bit. And then obviously there's a lot of bloopers in the game, but some of them hurt you more than others do. And the one where we give a 6 again, fourth tackle, when there's probably 60 seconds on the clock before Cav comes on. And we get back to 13, and if we'd have survived that set rather than giving that away, and again, no one means to do it, if we'd have survived it, I think we'd have gone on and had a bit of joy. But look, it's not for lack of effort, no one's doing it on purpose, and it's not the same person doing these mistakes. Again, the only way to come through it is just keep persevering and getting on with it.
We saw the new man, Ryan Lannan, make his debut for the club. How do you feel he went?
I thought it was really good, actually. Didn't do anything the obvious, didn't make the big line break and score a fancy try or anything, but I thought he just did his job really well. Took us forward. I think often when you bring players in particular, ones who've spent a reasonable amount of time in Super League, you can just see the good habits in them, or I can see the good habits in them anyway. Most rooks he's involved in a slow, buying a second for his teammates, finds his front really well. Yeah, I think he'll be a good signing for us. And when we get to know him and he gets to know us a little bit better over the coming weeks, I think we'll see a little bit more from him. And we've also got to remember that as his third, I think that's his third game, a couple of games at Swint and then one in for us, and got through a lot of work and a lot of minutes, so there's definitely a positive for Ryan there.
There's some big hits flying in. We saw a few injuries on the Bradford side. Any injuries to report from the Panthers side, and any lads looking like being close to returning to the squad?
Yeah, we've got a few injuries to check on, to be honest. There's quite a long list, to be honest, so we'll have to have a look at them tonight and see where we're at. But whoever goes out this weekend, they'll be doing a good job for us, and we're putting the best foot forward and trying to remedy some of the stuff we've been coming up with, which has been poor. But if the effort remains the same, tidy a bit of that up, I think we'll get a different outcome.
A really big crowd, over 3,000 down at the Shay for a derby. That must have been encouraging to see.
Yeah, unsurprising, but I know the difficulties that come with a Monday night game. A bit different to a Sunday afternoon. We may have had more there, I don't know, but it was nice to see a lot of kids down there. I think I saw a lot of Ellen jerseys, King Cross jerseys, bits and bobs there. Nice to see them all down there, some Siddle as well. We just have to maintain it, don't we, and keep supporting. I know it's tough times when you're not winning, and I do it with football, other sports I follow, and when your team's not beating people by 50, you start questioning everything, often without much justice, but it is what it is. That's a part of the drama of sport, and if we're going to turn up and win every week, people probably won't bother coming because they know the outcome. It's the drama that keeps us coming, and the sport's definitely valued, and if we can keep them crowds like that, you know, it really does help us.
Moving on to this weekend then, obviously playing Monday night, it's a short turnaround to the York game on Sunday. They'll have had a bit more time to prepare after playing on Good Friday. After a defeat like that in a derby game, is it more advantageous to get back into it quicker, or would, I mean, obviously you'd rather have more time to prepare, but you see, you'd rather get back out on the horse, so to speak, as quick as possible?
That was tough, wasn't it? Well, look, they've had more time, if you like, to prepare, but they'll only train the same amount, I'd imagine. It's not going to change too much. They'll just have a bit more time to rest the body, I suppose. But your point around getting back on the horse, yeah, it's nice to jump straight back in after a loss, but that's the fortunate bit about rugby, win or lose. When you're in season, there's always that one game around the corner, and you have to review, you know, be accountable for what you've dished up, and you know, the good and the bad. Learn from it, move on, and get on to the next one. And yeah, York are a good team again. As much as I don't like to admit it, much like us, up and down, not getting the results arguably people expect them to get, and obviously losing at home against Keighley has stung them a bit as well. So you know, we've both got good reason to turn out and have a good game, haven't we? They're a good team. York. They are a good team. They've got a nice brand of rugby which we've seen for the last couple of years. That's been developing there, and they are doing a lot of good stuff, as we are at the moment, and they're just obviously not having enough to ice those games and get the points on the board. But you know, I think you'll see a desperate Halifax team, definitely, because we want to get some wins, and we want to right some wrongs. But I doubt you'll see much different from York as well.
I know you don't like to look too far back, but I'm going to go there anyway. Obviously, is there a little bit of revenge on your mind? The last time we faced the Knights, they put us out of the playoffs at the Shay. Is there a little bit of putting things right?
No, revenge. What is revenge? Revenge is getting someone back when they've wronged you. They didn't wrong us that day, did they? They came and played a good game, and we weren't good enough on the day. Still, that one still stings a bit, to be quite honest. But yeah, it's a new year, new team. We're a new Halifax team, they're a New York team. Be nice to leave a mark on them for when we play them away later in the season.